Hi, everyone. Hello. Hello. Welcome to today's show. Okay, so I'm going to give a few seconds for hop-ons before I really dive into the material. So what I'm going to say early on in the show is thank you to all of my patrons who recently joined in the month of April. If you joined in April and your patronage went through, and you are on the higher 2 tiers of my Patreon, you have a gift waiting for you in your inbox of your Patreon app. So go get your mini reading, which I sent you. And if you didn't receive it, it's because the patronage has not gone through and I have not been notified. So that needs to be double checked. So that's a little update for my patrons. If you are not part of our Patreon community, the link is down below for you to visit and join. This is where I do kind of behind the scenes tapping videos. I'm actually in the process of designing a podcast that's going to be for patrons alone, as well as behind the scenes on my new moon and full moon stuff as well. So if you enjoy those videos and you want to get into a community where you can also get more of like chats with me and behind the scenes coaching, that's where you want to be. All of my patrons get access to that. So as you're hopping on, say hi so I can greet you, whether you're watching from whatever platform you're watching from. And again, I'm just giving a few seconds for everybody to hop on before we dive in. Today is going to be a really big conversation. So there is a lot going on. So I just want to make sure that I get everybody who wants to be on live to catch this. And if you're watching the replay, please let me know. Drop some love in there as well if you're going to catch the replay. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, and this is maybe your first live hopping on, welcome. My name is Shakti, and obviously this is my channel, Shakti TV. So originally Shakti TV started as New Thought for a New Age, and really the intention of Shakti TV was to bring you guys information that was not necessarily a mainstream narrative, but that was really helpful and beneficial for your health, for your weight, for your fitness, for your mindset, and recently for the Fireside Chats. Which is a new project that I took on because of my distaste for mainstream media and how I believe that we are not being told the truth. And I think that we deserve to know the truth. So that's why I took on this project. I look like a Beltane princess. Thank you. I forgot it was Beltane and I just felt inspired to dress like this. So it's not a coincidence, I guess, right? I'm feeling my elven side right now. So I'm in the spirit, I guess, of Beltane without really even realizing it. Thank you, Kobe. I love it as well. It is a good accent. So from now on, these Fireside Chats are Fireside Fridays. So you know what to expect on Fridays. You get all of your good news from me. So what I will do the whole week leading up to Fireside Fridays is I will collect all of the information I think it's worthy of sharing. And as always, if you're on YouTube, all of the links will be underneath the video. You can trace all the videos. You can watch them yourself or the Twitter posts or whatever it is that I share. And you guys can draw your own conclusions. My intention is that I get information to you that you might not be getting access to, and then you can decide how you feel about it and what you want to follow. But I think being educated is really important. So that's why I do this project. Okay, so the title of this video was called DECLAS, and a lot of things have happened in the past week. 2 of the major things that happened were there was a massive WikiLeaks dump, like gigantic. And I followed the proper link because a lot of people were sharing links online and they were like dead links. I followed the proper links and thousands of files opened up. And then you would click one of them and thousands of files. There is a lot of information that just got dumped on the internet, and you'd have to spend hours and hours and hours of your day going through every single one of those links, but it's there. It's public. Anybody can have access to that wiki link. I'm going to share where I got access to it at the bottom of this video again. And if you have the time and the incentive, then I encourage you to go through it. That there's important information that when it was dumped, I don't think anybody was really counting on people going through it. I think they were probably going to look at all that stuff and be like, this is overwhelming. And then like maybe not take the time to go through it. But I encourage you to, if this matters to you and you want to become informed, to even just look through the titles of the files. Like Clinton emails is one of them, by the way. The Podesta emails are already in there, but those were already leaked like a while ago. But there's also, different things like, I don't know, collateral murder is in there, which is a weird thing to have a file for. So y'all might want to look at those links. Hi, Kari. Yes. So one link has hundreds, even thousands of additional links. It is very daunting, but I'm sure there's good stuff in there. And if you have the time and you have the energy, it's worth going through. That's one of the 2 DECLAS things I wanted to talk about. Or 3, there's 3, I guess. So anyways, that is now public. There's a ton of information that you can have access to. So have at it. The second DECLAS that happened, which was kind of like, was the Pentagon releasing these videos, released like the lamest footage they possibly could release about aliens. Like, I'm underwhelmed as hell about those videos. I don't know about y'all, but I saw them and I was like, really? These are like a thing? These crap? That there is some sort of game at play here that we might not understand yet. I don't know why they decided to leak those videos or disclose those videos now. My hope is that it's being disclosed as prompted by the current administration, and that we will have a proper full disclosure, which has been something that many have been pulling for a while. But I think some part of me believes that there's a not so great agenda behind disclosing those videos. This wool over our eyes, have experience with live beings, and that's something they're not going to disclose. I don't think anytime soon. But when that does go public, that's going to be, people are going to be wearing tinfoil hats. That's all I'm going to say. So that's, I like to kind of group things together. So I'll get back to that. But the third thing I want to talk about was General Flynn. And if you guys missed it, which you probably did, because as per usual, not said a word about General Flynn being exonerated by FBI directors. Nothing has been said. No article. It's all been like people on Twitter sharing got falsely accused. He gave a false testimony of guilt is what happened. But he was framed, essentially, is the reports that are now, the reason that's being shown is because FBI documents were declassified and made public with handwritten notes on them. Oh, you're getting booted from both platforms. Isn't that interesting? You guys, I'm going to have to start speaking in code. So that's what I'm going to do next, is speak in code so that I can do these videos. I'm going to start holding signs because I really don't know what else to do. If this is happening to you, please let me know, because that would be important feedback for me to have about the platforms that I'm using. Okay. So anyways, this is important that it probably didn't just happen to him. It probably also happened to other people. And so if the same people were directing that case, I have to watch the words that I'm going to say next. Hey, Elaine. Okay, it's happening on both. Well, that's good to know. I'm going to speak in code from now on. If the same people are handling both things, then like the same group false or tampered with, then deductive reasoning would say that the other cases that these same people have organized and seen over were also tampered with. So that's why this particular news break is so anyways, those were the 3 that happened, and they matter because the first and the last one matter the most. The second one, which was the aliens, is like, again, underwhelmed. I don't understand why that was released at this point in time, but the first and the last ones matter the most. And it's important that you understand what is happening with this general, because without understanding what led to that study or that digging, you can't really understand what's coming next and what else is going to be. This just can't be true. Like, nothing this dude is saying can be true. But he also isn't lying. You can see it in his face. He's like, this is my life. Like, this is what happened. It's just so straightforward. So I kind of observed him for a while and I was like, dude, this guy's stories are like really next level. But I've grown to really appreciate the things that he shares and the things he brings attention to. So I found it really interesting when he shared this video in his Twitter account, and it was Confessions of an MIB. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Right? Because we all know the movie Men in Black. Most of us have seen it. It was really entertaining and fun. And we just thought it was like fun. A lot like The Matrix. I feel like MIB and Matrix are two of those movies where you're like, is this real? You know, as you get older, you start to think about it and you're like, where'd they get the idea for this movie? That's how I felt about MIB the older I got. Hold on, Kari, I can't see your comment. Yes, so I'm going to link this. Again, I will share the links of everything I'm talking about. Just be patient and I'll have them for you in one place. So Confessions of an MIB is about a man by the name of Joseph Spencer. And what he talks about is very, very interesting because this was filmed years ago. So the actual footage that was shared is of someone reading Joseph Spencer's confession. And it was filmed, I believe, in 2007, 2008, maybe. And in the video, they talk about depopulation plan and how he knew, because that's what he was trained in, that they were using things like fluoride and chemtrails and man-made VIRUSESs to basically control the amount of people who are on the planet at any given point in time. And there is a film called Alien Overlords that someone on Twitter was referring to with this storyline. She was like, yeah, there's a movie. It's called Alien Overlords. And when I looked it up, I was like, whoa, because it hit real close to home. So, by the way, I also found another video of an amazing woman explaining our cosmic history. She did like a history lesson from way, 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 way back. She went all the way back to explain like where the Draco reptilians came from and why they are the way that they are and why they ended up on the earth and how all that happened. And I'm going to share her link below because it was an awesome explanation. She did a phenomenal job of explaining that. So I will put that in there. But this video, what really gave me the chills about this video, and the reason I'm even talking about Confessions of an MIB, is because part of his confession was that he speculated that sometime between 2017, 2018-ish, there would be the release of a flu that would create a pandemic and would be life-threatening. And in the video, the guy who's reading it is like, so I guess we'll know in that time frame, if that happens, that he was right. Okay, we're in 2020, but that's not really far off from his prediction, okay? That made me pause hard because I was like, okay, how would he know that? If all of he's talking about being chosen to be an MIB, being in this secret program, like if everything he's talking about is BS, it's not true, how would he have predicted that? Because all of his work is dated, right? They also talked about holographic projects, which could also be called Project Bluebeam, which is basically having such advanced holographic technology that you could create a visual in front of someone's eyes that looks so real to them, they would have no doubt of what they were seeing. And I believe, is because of a prediction that Dr. Greer gave a long while ago, that the, quote, Third World War would be between us and residents not of this planet. He said that I have to spell now, government would plan this false flag attack between space and us to get us in a position of save me, save me, save me, which they're kind of doing now. They're playing the same card with this pandemic situation. And to put us against beings from other worlds. And what's really crazy about that is that Dr. Greer has been saying that since I've been following him years ago. And this person in this video says that there was going to be a planned fake invasion or attack in 2024. Same dude that said 2017, 2018, there was going to be some sort of flu-like thing that was like a killer, is now saying 2024, they're going to fake some sort of thing, and they're going to use this technology to create a fake illusion of an invasion. I think we should pay attention. Since he already predicted one thing, we should probably be aware of what else could be coming down the pipeline. Same person said that the Phoenix Lights, which is a really famous apparition everybody talks about as far as like a UFO. And this person in the video talking about this talks about how he was taken into a room and he was shown a holographic image. He didn't know that at the time. He just saw a spaceship floating above him like a fighter jet. And the guy who was with him said, what is that? And he goes, it's a fighter jet. And the guy says, are you sure that that's what you're seeing? And he said, absolutely. It looked exactly like what a fighter jet looks like. And he said, what if I told you that that's not what you're seeing? And he didn't understand. And then he turned the holograph off and it disappeared. And at that point, he understood that whatever technology they were using or implementing, anybody even knew that they had access to. So all of this was disclosed in that video that I'm talking about. Again, I'm sharing this information because it's relevant to now. And I think it's real shade that those like cheesy ass videos of UFOs were released when this is the type of stuff that we're dealing with, I don't understand why they would do that. But again, I'm just sharing this information so you guys can be informed. Okay, so next couple things that I have to share. Hold on a second. Yes, Kari, you need to see that because that video, I was watching and I was like, oh my goodness, like my brain. So I didn't write him down here, which I should have, but someone who I've been listening to a lot of his stuff lately has been David Icke, and his platform got shut down on Facebook actually recently. But he's on some podcasts and he has some videos still up on YouTube, and he's been following this stuff for over 30 years. He's been talking about, the dark controllers. He's been talking about the alternate narrative that we don't know anything about for 30 years. And he's been saying something like this is going to happen for 30 years. And now that we're here, he has an awful lot of insight. Stuff that I think we should all be listening to, because the stuff that he's saying is on point when it comes to like the virus, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to why certain agendas are being pushed, like the climate conversation. why petrol is being phased out, why, like, all of that. He really knows the lineages, and he goes deep. So I have the podcast episode that it's 2 hours long. It's completely worth listening to. I will share that in the links below. But he's blowing my mind right now, because everything I've been following and everything that other people that are in the same kind of wave have been following, he was just reiterating right back at me. And I was like, well, if all of us are falling on the same information, then someone's got to stop and say, what's going on? Kobe, I feel like all the sci-fi movies I've ever watched are coming true. You're not kidding, sister. You and me both. You and me both. But that's what I think, like, you know, that's what I think this organization does, right? It likes to flaunt in our face what our reality is actually like, and have us not know at all that we are stuck or trapped. That's part of it. That's part of, like, the sick game of, like, haha, look at this Matrix movie, but by the way, you are literally in one, and we are literally surviving by feeding off of you. Like, that's like a thing. And I think that's part of why these movies were allowed to exist, because they like to do that. And actually, there's one movie that, I was, all you guys are home, you can watch movies. There's a movie called Eyes Wide Open, which is directed by Stanley Kubrick. And if you know anything about that guy, he's real interesting. And he has directed some pretty obscure and saucy films. I will just say that. But what I found particularly interesting about Eyes Wide Open, which stars Kidman and Cruise, which are two huge actors, is that he knew exactly what he was doing filming that movie. And he was exposing the ILLUMAN, I can't spell, you know, the I organization. It's a long word. He was exposing the I organization, and he was doing it in their own environment. Like, even the mansion that those darker scenes were filmed in belonged to those ancient families, those lineages. It's very interesting when you read more about him and how he filmed that movie. Also interesting that 6 days after, well, Space Odyssey is one of his movies. This is a different movie. 6 days after he finished that film, he mysteriously died. I'm just going to stop real quick. Just died. And you can imagine why he did, right? Because if that's what the intention of the movie was, is an expose on, that didn't sit well, didn't go well. And there's this background talk that there was some issues between him and that organization. And so that was what happened to him. And a particular scene was edited out of that film by the Warner Brothers studio who adopted the film, and they have said, I found that fascinating when I dug into that rabbit hole, that he happened to die 6 days after it was complete. And yeah, anyways, I'll leave that for you guys to go dig. Okay, so diving into more of, oh, here's something that I found interesting that you guys might want to dive into. We have removed this page for repeatedly violating our policies on harmful misinformation. David Icke is being charged of harmful misinformation. Isn't that fascinating? When all he's really telling people is, like, this is the plan. This is why they are doing what they're doing. This is incredible. Incredible. The censorship right now, the shadow banning, is so real. The reason I'm not saying certain words and I'm really censoring myself as far as, like, spelling things out and stuff, it might seem silly to you, but you have no idea how closely all the videos are being monitored. And if I want to give out information, I have to be really mindful of that, because they could take your whole channel. They could take everything, you know? So I'm just being mindful. All the more reason to go look him up, because now you know that his stuff is good. There's an organization called Media Matters, that is currently under investigation. And what's really interesting about this organization is that they're all about, taking care of the media, making sure that the media is sharing the truth, that's kind of the guys. But the truth is, it is a radical left organization, and that its primary job is censorship. That's what it does. Its primary job is to censor any right articles or information. Okay? I'm going to make a statement right now and say this. I do not align with any political party. That's not my dialogue. That's not my world. I don't care what anybody particularly thinks. I identified as liberal for a very long time. And here's what I have learned about the people running the Liberal Party. Okay? They are not any better, and in fact, worse. And I will tell you why. The people who typically identify as liberal tend to be people who are really into social justice. They really believe in taking care of each other. I know them because I know many of my closest friends are some of the most caring, deeply generous, beautiful people I have ever known who identify as being liberal. They really care about their community. They care about people's needs being met. They care about their environment. They care about things that are important. But what these people are doing is they're literally preying on you and your good intentions. What these people are doing in these positions of leftism is they are taking the things that you care about and making them a political stance on purpose, and then betraying you when they get into office and going directly against what they promised you. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Telling you. All of these movements, Antifa, Me Too, were funded on purpose. Which, speaking of Me Too, it's been a remarkable silence when it comes to Tara Reid and anything that has to do with her. Maybe it's because it's a Democratic candidate. Funny. Think about this stuff. Think about this. Where are those movements now? Why doesn't anybody believe all women? Really? Are we believing all women? Doesn't sound like that. You know the hashtag that's trending on Twitter right now? I believe Biden. That's the hashtag that's trending. True story. Almost like Twitter has an agenda. Weird. So weird. So anyways, you guys might want to look into Media Matters and who runs Media Matters. I'll save you some time. David Brock. And who else he's associated with? Who did he have a relationship with? What is that guy accused of? Do a little digging. You'll be fascinated by what you learn and find. They're currently under investigation. And then you have someone who I think is my new personal favorite hero on the internet. Dr. Judy Mikovits. Bless her soul. She has come out from the dungeons of Twitter because they suspended her account and have blocked her. She's also been in the middle of being shadow banned. And she is outright speaking about how her entire life and career was ruined by none other than Dr. Fauci, the very same guy we see talking on all the briefings about what he knows about science and the VIRUS and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so he destroyed her career. This is from her mouth. I'm not saying that. She said this in a video on Twitter because of what she discovered during a test run, I guess, of mouse retroviruses in VACCINES. She made a discovery that was very alarming. And Dr. Fauci told her, pretend you didn't see that and you can keep your life, basically. And she was like, what are you talking about? I did see that. And no, And so not only was she fired and her career thrown in the garbage, but she was basically ruined. And by the way, that's a very common tactic of scientists who come forward and say something that isn't right, is the people who are pulling the strings will make them seem crazy. They will completely strip them of their credentials and strip them of the respect they have in their community. I can't remember the physician's name now, but he was the guy who basically discovered that sound and the practice of sound could heal anything in the body. And when he discovered this and started talking about it, he was actually taken to court. And all of his material was taken, and he was stripped of his credentials and basically meant to look like a lunatic, because don't share that. If people know they can heal with sound, why would they need anything we have? Okay, look him up. Just type that in. You'll find him. So Judy was one of those. Dr. Mikovits was one of those. And she is now a force. She is all over the Twitters, and she is sharing all the things she knows. So you should follow her, because she is... Oh, someone just put Carol Baskin. I just... she did it. She totally did it. I don't know. I can't see anything other than she did it. Yes, Kobe. So you remember that, and you were appalled, as was I. So anyways, look her up. Worth looking at. I'm going to leave you with some other names for you to look into. I follow a guy on Twitter called Jordan Sather. I like him a lot. His YouTube channel recently got taken down. You guys should like him too. Oh yeah, see, there was a guy who was doing sound frequencies on YouTube and he had to stop. Yeah, that's crazy. That's so crazy that they're at that level where they're looking at anybody who's really trying to help people on with these natural. And okay, so this ties into what I really want to say. The attack that has been coming out on natural healing is so evident. It is so evident, and I need you guys to be extremely vigilant about what is being shared. Really check your sources. Really make sure what you're reading is legitimate, because when the president went live and talked about things like injecting disinfectant and light in the body, all those things are real practices, and they really do help, and they make a massive difference and have for a long time. They're not new. Those are not new technologies. People don't understand what the word disinfectant means. Doesn't mean bleach or Lysol. Those are products. Disinfectant is an agent that cleanses, any agent, and it can be used in the body, in fact. So these things are important that the public know that they exist. And I think that statement was made intentionally. It got many people Googling. It got many people looking for what that could possibly mean. And a lot of people didn't even know that was a thing. I'm blessed enough to work with so many amazing natural healers that I have heard of these therapies for a long, long time. But a lot of people didn't even know. You know, they really thought he was talking about drinking bleach, which if that's what you thought he was talking about, you need a dictionary and a thesaurus by you at all times. That's just what I'm going to say. And so think of people like Dr. Sebi is one of them, okay, who had proof that a lot of things could be healed. And he was charged with a bogus felony, and he died in custody. Seriously. Okay. Then you have someone like Nipsey, who was making a documentary about this guy and just got shot down randomly. That's not weird. Okay. And I want you to think about other people who have tried to make films, credible films about things like trafficking, things like the health, and what happened to them. Think about someone like Chris Cornell. That wasn't an accident. I knew that the moment I heard it. It wasn't. I felt it. It wasn't. See, even as verses Yep. And this is I didn't even know about UV or ozone therapy was a thing. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know those things were real therapies, and they are. And and Bennington. Oh man, that broke my heart. Those two really broke my heart. It's a sad, sad world when people who want to do the right thing and who want to be advocates have to survive things of that nature, and their families have to survive things of that nature. That's cruelty at its ultimate. So I want to close with the fact that a lot of things are becoming public knowledge now, and it behooves you to really become a citizen journalist and track sources. And before you share anything, please make sure that you are checking the sources. Remember that mainstream media is bought by a liberal agenda. So that's what they're going to talk about the most. Sometimes I have people who have to go to other countries to read their news to learn more accurately about ours. I have a subscription to the Epic Times. I like them a lot. I think OAN is another one that is new that I've found some really good articles on. The Guardian, I think it's a UK publication. That one, some people have shared some really good articles on. So just be mindful, of what you're sharing, and do your own research, and don't just accept the narrative that you are being given because there's an agenda behind it. And I want to close up by saying that I'm not here to represent either side of this situation or, political parties or whatever. I am not one of those people that was like, I love the president. I didn't. And I was upset when he got elected. I also don't know him. I don't know anything about him except what I have been told and what I have been shown by mainstream media. And so when I realized that, I was like, okay, I need to stop listening to all these sources, and I need to stop paying attention to what's actually being said and done. That's when I started watching the briefings, and that's when I started learning that regardless of my personal opinion about him, when he says he's going to do something, he does it. And thus far, when it comes to handling certain situations, I haven't found myself in a disagreement or a discord. But again, this is not about him. This is not about defending him or about promoting him. This is about me trying to get information to the public that I don't think that you guys are honestly getting enough exposure to. And maybe some things that you don't know, like the whole ET alien thing and how it traces to now and why it's important, why it's even relevant, because it is. And right now it might still not be relevant in your brain. Like right now you might be hearing me talk about aliens and you're like, what does that have to do with current events? And I promise you, if it doesn't make sense now, it will very, very soon. And so just listen to when I drop hints, watch the videos that I share, and make your own judgment calls. But at the very least, you'll have the information for when more things go public, as they inevitably will, I have no doubt. You are not completely blindsided and like, WTF, how did this even happen? How did we get here? In particular, watch the video of our cosmic history. Like watch the video of, forgot her name. I think her handle's like Cosmic Empress or something on YouTube, but she's awesome. And her history lesson is the best. And she really like detail gets into how these family lines, these 13 ruling families happened, where they came from, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's really worth your time to become more educated in that. And then maybe you'll understand a little bit more of the framework for how governments have been ruled and organized, because this is not just about the United States. This is a worldwide thing, which is why right now what we're experiencing is a worldwide situation. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Become educated, stay aware, check your resources. And again, as always, if you want to join our Patreon community, there's a link for you guys to join us. And again, these are moving to Fridays. So now every Friday we'll do a Fireside Friday chat, and I will catch you up on what I have been learning and what I have been following for the whole week prior. And yeah, those are my updates. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. I love doing this. Hopefully next time you guys won't get I'm sorry, I'm going to have to code myself. I might make signs. that's not a bad idea. Certain signs, because I'll be repeating names over and over again. So I might just do that. And then we'll just communicate creatively, right? That's the whole idea. All right, loves. Have an amazing evening. Thanks for hanging. Bye.